Today is the day Karen and I had big disagreement. So now is the time for you to weigh in. You know, perhaps we missed something. And there actually was a couple of things that I missed to say. And Karen might remember something to hit me with in about 5 minutes. But, you know, maybe we missed something and you want to point it out. Maybe you agree with Karen, maybe you agree with me. Maybe you agree with neither of us. Maybe you think that both, and we have the first agree or disagree. We will find out from Petit Valley. Good morning.
Good morning, Sean and Karen Tishera Nunez.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to be respectful to you this morning, Karen. Today is one of your poorest mornings in your defense.
All right.
For Mr. Farley Augustine. Let me go through one by one slow.
He's
in
smiling.
fact.
I'm thinking.
Fact.
Don't be too slow though, caller.
Dealing in fact.
Caller, you can't be slow. You have to be succinct and efficient. Go.
Mr. Augustine was caught in facts with his own statement, saying the statement was his conspiring to take money from the government to spread propaganda. That is facts, right? You are trying to defend him and saying he didn't go through with it. How you know he didn't go through it, number one? And number two, you are trying to defend him and saying what he's bringing up about the money to pay the contractor and the car gets scratched and people are blackmailing him. How you know that? We ever see a receipt by Mr. Augustine where he went by the police and report that? He never reported it, and we don't know.
And you're making...
So if somebody's conspiring to rob a bank, right, and they get caught before they rob the bank, they was conspiring to rob the bank.
Yeah,
Ms. Nunes,
okay.
this morning,
I understand what you're saying. But
Have a nice morning.
I thank you, and you were very straightforward, and I understand what you're saying. My only 2 points, maybe I'm probably being a little misunderstood, was that one, that he never carried through to try to rob the bank. So they didn't catch him trying to rob the bank. It was something which he should not have done in the first place. We agree on that. We're not making any excuses. My concern more was, why are we talking only about Farley? Why are we talking about not about the person who, according to him, that is Farley, he has proof of wrongdoing. That's all I'm saying.
And to Karen's credit, it is not a small thing. Yes, he doesn't just because he didn't go to the police before, we have to take it seriously now. It has reached that stage. We have to take it seriously now. It might be late to the game, but it has to be done. We have a caller from Digger Martin. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Mr. Shearer and Sean. Karen, I want to stand with you. There was a meeting, and it was not only Farley. Who were the other people in the meeting? That is what I want to know. Was there a mole in the meeting who's really conspiring to set up Farley? That's all I have to say. But my more important thing, Karen, you know what I'm pained with this morning?
What?
The death of the gentleman
True.
in the Nikon incident.
Very true.
And people have to understand where they started. And you know where it started? And where the mitigation is to mitigate against a business decision made by the Prime Minister to pull out a litigation of Malcolm Jones. Malcolm Jones is the thread that goes through everything. Connect the dots and see where AV went, where Nelson Gate went, where Nikon is starting to make it work. Because it didn't work the first time. You sell it over to a new entity, the World GTL plant. It is dysfunctional. You had an explosion. And you're hiding the energy report to tell us what were the corrective and the preventive action. One issue, a business decision causing deaths now, that is how serious. This is parallel to Paria.
I know, I
Paria
thought of that
had
too.
a subcontractor in the plant. Massey is the subcontractor in Nikon. Do these people understand what is health and safety? You can't really outsource health and safety. That is a no-no. It's like, I don't want to bring it in. If you have a stepchild, think about the psychological. Do you like that child more than you like your own?
True.
So that is why I'm saying, I don't want to make that analogy, but it's something like that. And the most important one, I really call it for Karen, we're talking about corruption, quite on. Where's the clicker report?
Oh,
Why
thank
is
you.
it
Thank you. I'm so glad you brought it up. You know why? Because the Prime Minister said...
Back to the DPP, he hadn't gotten resources, he hadn't gotten lawyers.
Hear what he
Was
said.
that the motive of the Prime Minister to put him to sit down in the toilet?
Let me tell you what he said, because I was on 95.5 and Mr. Manning had died a few days before, and I had come on there to talk about the release of the self-financial report. The reason we were given is the pre-action publicity. How much more publicity do you need for Montai and Dupree when they have been sued and sued and sued? How much more negative publicity you need? You don't want to release it because I know that there is no negative thing said about me in handling that.
But there are people who have cocoa in the sun in high government official office.
That's correct.
And you know what, going further?
Quick.
Okay, I like what you
said.
said.
Going further, you see the heritage and stabilization a bad business decision again?
Yes.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you, caller.
Man after my own heart.
One thing. Farley himself implied that his entire executive was in the meeting. We only heard 2 members, but he implied that they were there, and he believes it was Watson Duke. I believe that it could be Watson Duke that did the leak.
Oh, so now you want...
No.
You choosing what you believe.
No. I just would like it further explained. Before the fallout between Watson Duke and Farley, what was Watson Duke's relationship with Warner?
Obviously it was not
That's
good.
all. Because it was before the fallout.
Yeah, remember it was the folk, but the folk thing was in November.
Right, so this is before the folk thing.
Yeah, but things were going on behind the scenes.
Right, behind the scenes. My point is, before there was the fallout, Farley said Watson Duke was lobbying for Warner to get his money. Yeah. I am literally curious with regards to for more information on that.
You're not going to get it, though.
I know. But to just leave it there, because on the surface it doesn't make sense at the time. It makes sense now, as what you said, the enemy of said, but it didn't make sense at the time because they were not the enemy of the enemy.
Yeah, but right now, all they want to do is bring down Farley. That's what they want to do.
Well,
enemy of my enemy, my friend.
Farley needs to help himself.
Well, I think some people don't. Yeah, but some of us don't think like you think. There you go.
Okay, I wonder if I am now going to be told I am wrong from this caller from
wrong.
Tobago.
Yeah, different points of view.
Good morning, caller.
Hey, good morning, Sean. Good morning, Karen.
Good morning.
Just sharing a conversation going on here. In reference to a conspiracy, according to law, it's an agreement between 2 or more people to commit an unlawful act, and I'm reading, or to deprive another person of his legal rights. The agreement to act must be moved toward a conclusion, whether or not it is actually accomplished. That's a very key part of that definition. All right? It must be moved to a conclusion. You can't just accuse people of a conspiracy just because they're talking about doing something. Action has to be taken towards trying to conclude that. This is where undercover agents go in and try to get people to commit to the act. What I believe is really going on here that people are not focusing on is that forensic audit. That forensic audit must be buried. It must be destroyed. It must be just like you have the...
What forensic audit?
The forensic audit that is at the heart of all of this, Sean. Pay attention. The heart of all of this is that forensic audit where it's come out that these contractors...
okay, yes, I agree.
And they have not done the work.
Yes.
Absolutely.
If that forensic audit goes through to its conclusion, and Karen knows this, a forensic audit is different from a regular audit.
Yes.
They package the information so that you could just take that right into court and somebody making a jail.
Yeah.
Farley must be run out of office, buried under scandal and all these kind of things. His credibility diminished. They're looking to squash that forensic audit. That's the covert agenda. All the overt statements you're hearing swirling around this audio tape, they well know, all of them been to Harvard and Yale and all these kind of the schools, they well know that does not rise to the level of a conspiracy.
Maybe an attempt to conspire, though, it's an attempt to murder, eh? You know that's also a crime.
Did we lose call?
No, I think I answered him in that thing, but we agreed with him though.
The problem is the recording, and I could be wrong, but the recording does not give us what the conclusion is. Again, I'm not saying Foley's guilty. I'm saying it has to be investigated. I'm saying the extortion has to be investigated. The audit, the problem with the audit is this. For better or worse, the incidents that the executive have been involved in publicly that involves the audit, they have not handled it well. So they're not helping themselves.
You mean they handle it how they want to handle it? You go ahead and think they're handling it well.
They haven't
They're
handled it well.
well, okay,
They
that's
haven't handled it well.
If there's somebody from San Fernando.
Yeah, we'll call it from San
You have,
Fernando.
you have to come in cabinet and then understand, you know.
You giving Farley way too much leeway, I
and
find.
you
Way
given
too
and
much.
you are giving the allegations about bribery way too. You're playing it down too much.
Because it's a separate
Okay,
issue.
okay.
It's
Let
not
the
the same
person.
issue.
You have
I'm not
somebody
playing
from
it down.
San Fernando.
San
Yep.
Fernando, good morning.
San
Sorry.
Fernando.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sean and Karen.
Morning.
As P.D. Raleigh said with respect, Karen, you sounded like Crowley's defense attorney this morning, eh?
Well,
We could say
yeah,
that.
you know, somebody have to defend the man, you know.
Let me also say that you referenced the text messages, right? The screenshots. Those screenshots, and you said you did not see them.
No.
Those screenshots were made available on the screen when Farley gave that press conference. I looked at that press conference, and I looked at those screenshots because that whole recording was online. They put it up online, so you could freeze it on your television and look at it. There is no and he said those screenshots was between allegedly between one of those Warner people and somebody else, and he got it. There was nothing inside those screenshots that spoke to that was the case. So that is still that information. The fact that Farley was caught on tape conspiring, because when ASP Ali was on the channel, I asked him if it is that is there a charge called conspiracy to commit, and he said yes. And Farley came and brought conjecture, and some people want to go down a rabbit hole because of that, and not focusing on what was the issue. The issue was there was conspiracy to try and commit using state funds to commit an offense, and that's the issue. And whether or not let the Warner thing work itself out, because that all that Farley said. If it is that you have all that evidence, how come you have not gone to the police on it? The first time you come out with it is in this press conference. Come on, man. That is a farce, as far as I'm concerned, until, just as you say, Karen, evidence, and there is no evidence apart from what Farley had to say. Thank you.
Yeah, you're making a good point, and I have no evidence, or as I use that word, he may himself have compromised himself because, unfortunately, we can't see the future and see what is going to come down the pipeline. So maybe at one time he was a willing participant, and so we don't know. But what my argument is, I'm not supporting Farley, because what he did is terrible, and he has lost a lot of support. What I'm saying is we need to look at both sides, because on both sides there's wrongdoing, and we need to give both sides the
With regards to evidence into the allegations, it could be part of it is the forensic audit might be part of that evidence package. So I don't know if that might be why Farley was waiting, and maybe he was wrong to wait, or maybe he was right to wait.
We'll find
but the
out.
forensic audit, and I will agree with the caller from Tobago. I don't know if it's a conspiracy, but this could hurt that process, which I will agree was a good thing that Farley did. He did that more or less when they came in. He said, we have a problem, we're going to look into it. And it is turning up things, but right now things are very much up in the air. I don't have time because to explain that statement, we have a call from Chase Village. Good morning. Morning, caller, you're on the air.
Hello, good morning, Sean and former minister. I don't know if I will be relevant here, but you see, when coming to corruption and thing, is only the only people who would be absolved from corruption in this country is the PNM people who in power. Anybody else who do any little thing or accused of doing any little thing, they quick to investigate them and run them out of office. Look, our government minister is alleged deposits 164 million in a bank, 1,000 in a bank in Tonapuna. It is fact. You know, you would investigate that. It had 2 children with their father went in a shooting range. When you go in a shooting range, in an army base shooting range, you have to sign by the gate. You have to sign your name. You have to sign who you're bringing in. If who you're bringing in is of age, they also have to sign and put the address and the contact number. 8 years now. They cannot investigate that, but they run a senior superintendent to Tobago to investigate poor Farley.
That is true,
Malcolm Jones spent millions and millions and millions in Petrotrin. They pull out the case. That is not important. Up to yesterday, the Prime Minister was asked a question in Parliament about some 50 million, which is 60 million. He said, I have nothing to investigate. You know why you have nothing to investigate? Is PNM sycophants. That is why he have nothing to investigate. I could go on and on, but you're saying don't be long. Thanks very much.
Thank you, caller.
He made some good points, too.
No, and I call it out. Gary Griffiths had the point, okay, you want to investigate Farley? Well, investigate the meritless withdrawal. And so I understand what you're saying, caller.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. It's just that this is kind of like an obvious example
And that's
to
why
me,
people
so
are
I can't let it go.
You know, and I think that has a lot to do with the level of cynicism that people have now. Because they feel, what does it matter? They do their own thing.
Every time something comes up from the government, we bring it up, you know.
Yeah, but they don't take us on.
Right? Right. But we bring it up. I think what makes the situation in Tobago feel different is that we had different expectations coming out of this crop of politicians. And I have an issue with it because I feel as though, just like how the caller in Tobago is concerned about the forensic audit, which to be fair, I did not consider, but he's right. This could affect that. But I feel as though this also will affect, and it's something we couldn't touch on, wider political implications in the nation.
I think,
and any new party is going to have an uphill battle when they say, trust us, we could be better than...
Yeah, but I think in the bigger picture, as we know, we're going through local government elections, which is like a dress rehearsal. For what to expect, because people are going to be guided very much by what comes out of local government. I think with the Farley-Augustine whole issue, it's taken on particular importance to the country because of the fact they are trying to discredit Farley. And if you discredit Farley enough, that's the end of the fight against the PNM in a way. Because remember, they did have 6-6.
Yes, it is a shame that, again, because politics is all about the leader, the merits of the people behind him almost seem to not matter. And
he may have merits too, so don't do that. You have a caller. You're being so unkind.
There's 15 people
unkind.
behind him. No, but what I'm saying is, to some extent, sorry, caller.
Yes, go and talk to the caller.
Oh, you missed my point, Karen. Good morning, caller.
All right, good morning. Me calling back. I heard
Yes.
Karen and her attempt. She talked about attempt. Attempt consists of the following elements. The person intends to commit the crime and the person engages in conduct that constitutes a substantial step towards the completion of the crime. There has to be something in there that says, I'm not just talking about it. You see, if
No, the man is
drag a person into court just for talking, this is like a Minority Report. Think of that movie with Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
where your thoughts, you could be indicted for your thoughts.
You are not a privy counsel.
Wait, but caller,
if you are indicted for just talking, you could be indicted for just thinking.
Caller,
you have to take it a step further. You have to make an attempt, and that attempt has to be codified in law as criminal.
Okay.
There we go.
Right.
For just talking.
Right, but
forensic audit is the issue.
Caller.
Thank you, caller.
The problem is he
caller.
cannot clear himself by just stating, well, we didn't follow through. That doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't. Not in
Otherwise, the PNM will never be corrupt.
No,
The
excuse
PNM,
me.
wait, the PNM says all the time, the government says all the time, we did nothing wrong.
See how he treats
By the logic
on
of
the
what was
pavement.
just said,
On the
when the
pavement.
government says there's nothing to see here, then there's nothing to see here.
So let me just say now.
So how is it that the standards are
raising
different?
his voice at me?
My standards are equal.
I want you all to send me, Berkey, I want you to send me this paper.
Claxton Bay on the line. Last caller. we going down to the wire. Good morning.
Morning, Sean. Morning to the good lady here. About the border. Have anyone already been to Ikakas Point to see this point?
You where?
No, I haven't. I don't think so.
Carcass?
And see how these...
I'm from deep south, you know. I grew up in Point Fortin, you know. I went to Carcass many times.
Lately now, we'll see when the influx of the
Venezuelans?
Spanish coming in. You will take about 20-25 minutes to meet the mainland from Ikakas Point.
Right.
Right? And we do have patrolling these borders to bring in, and illegal things coming in.
Exactly.
Right.
Bloomberg did an article on that.
Who is securing the border? I heard the Prime Minister, two of the patrol boats are working. How much we have parked up? Nobody servicing them or what support.
No, he doesn't want to speak about them.
And wait,
He doesn't want to talk about them at all.
One of the patrol boats is in out of service in
but let me just say this thing to support what you're saying. The Express newspaper did an article, you know, the opinion thing, and they said a lot of the drugs, the cocaine, yes, are coming through Chagaramas and coming through from the yachties, and they're coming on the big yachts and then taking them from the big yacht and putting them on the small yacht. Yeah, there's little or no, and yet down there you have Tetron Bay, you have the army, you have all these security arms there. And this is, and the Express actually called Chagaramas. They actually spoke about the yachties and saying there they want to bring in cocaine. And they're saying, yet you have all these arms and nothing being done.
Sorry,
so you got your answer.
Look, the Prime Minister won't talk about it, but the criminals know. He is not hiding any pertinent information. The criminals know when they can bring in stuff. They know. The only people who don't know is us. We don't know how bad it is.
We don't know.
The public, the general public.
We kind of know,
but we don't know for sure.
You know what we don't have? You know what we don't have? Evidence.
We don't, wow. Well, no, the evidence is in the fact that we know stuff is coming through. Them 4 AK-47s, right? They didn't,
Okay.
right? So we know stuff is coming through, right? We have that at least, so we know for sure that the border, and the fact that he himself recently this year had to admit that the borders are porous, despite whatever the Minister of National Security wants to say. So, I don't know what they're trying to hide at this point.
You know what happened? Interpol and them must have
I don't know what they're trying to hide at this point.
Interpol must have taken a turn in
All
that.
I know is that we're going to be tier 3 just now on the human trafficking list. Right?
Okay, we have to go now though, huh?
I know we have to go now. So we're wrapping up the show.
Did you shout at me enough for the morning?
You were interrupting me, Karen. You were interrupting me.
Yeah. You all, Berkey, everybody, the listeners, you see, this is what he does. No, he doesn't do this often, honestly. We have a very, 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 very good relationship. We do, we really do. I love him dearly. But I will say on occasion, we do have some very animated discussions.
We're passionate.
Yeah.
But again, my whole thing is I am equal opportunity. I'm using my same standard applying across the board.
Okay.
I'm not taking.
It's 9:30.
I ain't taking his word for it when he say he didn't do something.
Keys not here. It's 9:30.
All right. So, folks, that's all we have for the show today. I want to thank all the callers. It was great discussion. All the willingness to engage. Tobago, San Fernando, Petit Valley, Claxton. I'm going to forget some callers. I think we had Chase Village. I think Chase Village might have been a new caller. Thank you, caller. I want to thank my counterpart for this morning, my debate opponent, right? And you know what? To be fair to her, I will close the show with this. To be fair to her, she is right in that the press is probably not giving
they're not.
the extortion allegations enough play, and that is part of an ongoing story that probably has not gotten enough play from since the very beginning of this administration. And just because I am looking at Farley and second guessing him does not mean it works both ways. That story now does not all of a sudden become less important or less credible. It needs to be looked into because they have wide-reaching implications on that. It's 9:31. If the timekeepers tell me we have to go, have a good day, folks. We will see you tomorrow morning. Goodbye.